Welcome to the Art of Filmmaking series, where we sit down with high school filmmakers and creatives to talk about the ideas, experiences, and lessons behind the films that we create. Today, we are joined by Bailee Parker to talk about inspiration, creativity, and what it really takes to bring an idea from your mind to the screen. Thanks so much for joining me, Bailee. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into it?
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm Bailey. I'm an actress, writer, director. I love roller coasters. I love reading. A little bit about me that's not theater or film focused. I love to try new things like food or amusement parks. Yeah, it's a little bit about me.
Awesome. All right, so like our other episodes, we have 5 questions prepared for our guest star. And I don't know if she has any questions prepared for me, but if she does, we will put them at the end of the video. So, our first question of 5 is, what originally inspired you to get into filmmaking? And was there any specific movies or filmmakers that made you think, I really want to do this, or I really want to make something like that?
Yeah. For me, it wasn't an exact movie or director. I just kind of always loved watching movies and was fascinated by it. I think that's what kind of got me into acting and seeing movies. But soon after, I watched more movies and then I saw, oh, there's another aspect of it where I can film and I can direct things. So I'm really inspired movies like The Martian with Matt Damon. That's one of my recent favorites just because the cinematography and the storytelling in that, I think that's what's important about being a director and taking that from a movie and seeing, oh, that's really cool how they made this filmmaking or directing. And that's what I would say for that question.
Yeah, totally. I agree. The Martian is great. If you guys haven't seen it, you really should go watch it.
Yes.
Matt Damon is goated. For
I love
me,
Matt
my
Damon.
answer, Matt Damon's awesome. My answer to this question is actually I was watching Christopher Nolan's Batman: The Dark Knight.
Mm.
And I saw Batman, and I told my mom, it's like, I want to be Batman. And so she put me in acting classes, and sure enough, that
Aw.
led to me getting signed by a few Hollywood agencies, and then eventually it led to high school filmmaking. And so
Yeah.
that's how I came to fruition. But yeah, I recommend watching any movie with Matt Damon in it. The most recent, I think, is The Odyssey,
There's the
also
Odyssey.
Christopher Nolan. So
Amazing.
yeah. Let's move on to our second question. When you're coming up with a new film, what do your ideas usually come from? Things like personal experiences, other
Mhm.
movies, real life, or something else?
Um, I don't want to say I try not to, but I don't want to focus on getting it from other movies because I think it can sort of, oh, okay, well, you're just copying this or it's not original. So normally I take it from real life and it could be like something completely random and then I'll have an idea that will lead into another and another. So I think most of it is real life or watching a clip of a movie or something random in a certain movie and I'm like, wait, what if I made an idea out of that? I think that's where I normally get my ideas.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, it's kind of the same. I don't necessarily
Yeah.
get my ideas from other movies. I definitely like when I'm watching a movie, I'll be like, "Oh, that's a cool idea," and I'll take that into to mental note. But I don't really ever act on that just because
Mm-hmm.
it feels like foreign to me, like it's not my idea. Um,
Oh, mm-hmm.
how I think when it comes to films and stuff is I'll get like a shot idea, or I'll get
Mm-hmm.
like a character idea, or I'll get like a concept idea, and then I'll build that. Most recently is the
Yeah.
feature film that I'm writing. It's called The Station Attendant, and I got it from an Instagram video. I saw a police officer, and then I thought homosexual, and so that's how The Station Attendant came to fruition. You guys don't know what that is yet. You won't
Yeah.
know what that is yet because we're not gonna release that yet. But it is really good. It is a feature film, so it's gonna be exciting. Um,
Yeah.
our third question is: what is one part of film production that you think people watching a movie don't realize is as difficult as it actually is?
Oof. I would say I don't know if this is like the correct terminology, but stunt camera work. if that makes sense, because I think stunts are awesome. Like I would love to do my own stunts soon, but I think with the camera work as well, like cameras are heavy. Like there you have to have it attached to you sometimes. And when you're either running with an actor or running, doing whatever stunt, I feel like that's something that's really cool. Like in, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but for Brand New Day, like when, it's going around and it has different viewpoints of Peter Parker, I think that's
Mm-hmm.
something that's really cool that is difficult that people
Mm-hmm.
don't think about because it's like the camera is copying what the actor is doing and the actor is that's hard doing stunts, but then the camera has to be able to follow that. So I think
Yeah,
that's something that people don't realize.
for sure. Are you talking about that scene in Spider-Man: Brand New Day where he's like fighting the ninjas and he's they're like the helmet rig, the
Yes.
POV rig? That one? Yeah, that
So cool.
was really cool. I actually did some research on that. That was a stunt performer, and they had like a 30-pound head rig on,
Are you
like
serious?
like fighting these people. It was so cool. Um,
Yeah.
bro had to have a strong neck to do that one.
No, seriously.
Um, for my answer to this question, the hardest part of a film production or of film production that people don't think is as difficult as it actually is definitely stunt camera work. That
Yes.
was definitely one of my things. Anytime you have to move the camera from a stationary position is very hard because you have
Yeah.
to think about things, especially in action sequences, like focus. You
Focus.
have to
I was
think
just about to
about
say that. Yeah.
yeah, you have to think about lighting because when you're on the run, your lights have to come with you unless you're using
Yeah.
natural lighting, so they have to stay in the same spot. Say you're using like a scrim to maybe block out some of the sun's reflection, that has to come with you. So like every department is
Hmm.
running with the actor at the exact same
Exactly.
time. Um, and so that's definitely very hard. Also, having connections with people
Hmm.
by things through like networking or just meeting people
Yes.
just out and about. I was in the art district filming Love is Like a Violin in Las Vegas, and some guy we were in an alley. Some guy came out. I thought we were about to get kicked out, but no, he came out. His name is Steven Bravler. He's a stunt
Okay.
coordinator, and he
Are you
gave me his
serious?
phone number. Yes, he gave me his phone number. He's on IMDb. He's worked on tons of movies. He's like, call me when you need help. And I'm like, awesome.
What?
So that's another person that I've added to my catalog is Steven Bravler. I use
Yeah.
him for stunt coordination stuff. I'll message him. I'll be like, hey, do you think I could theoretically throw somebody through a window for this shot? And how would I do that? And he responded in grave detail. He's like, you need mattresses, you need
Oh my
to
gosh.
use CGI, and
What?
he told me breakaway glass. You can't.
Yeah.
If you're
Actual
working on a budget
glass.
like
Yeah.
$150, you cannot buy breakaway glass because there's only like one place that you can get it from, and it's really
Uh-huh.
expensive. And
Yeah.
he's like, send me a picture of the window, and I sent him a picture of the window. He's like, oh yeah, here's how you do that, and he sent me like a whole paragraph of how to do that. So, but by networking and just finding random people like that, like I
Yeah.
met a Hollywood stunt coordinator, and like that is awesome, and that's the kind of
Yeah.
people that you need to meet, right? And of course, like people like
Hmm.
Destiny, like those are people that you can add to your catalog,
Yes.
right? People like Destiny Shockley, and then people like Bailee Parker, and our producer who's on the show, Emmy. You guys can't see her, but she's on our producer camera. She is, these are all people that you can add to your toolkit. So meeting people and networking is very, very important.
Yeah.
Um, all right, that was a long answer. Let's move on to our next question. Number 4. When you're working on a project and something goes completely wrong during production, how do you usually handle it and keep the film moving forward regardless of this issue?
Okay. So this is like a little like a complete answer and not at the same time because I am working on a film right now and we're kind of at a halt. It's kind of, at a pause because people aren't available and like getting people together is so difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something that's kind of going wrong because we can't put the film into action because there's not enough people or people aren't available. So what I'm trying to do right now, like what I'm actively doing is continue to reaching out to Destiny Shockley, who's my
Mm-hmm.
co-director, like, hey, could we maybe do this? Like, is there a possibility of this? And just try to work through it. And I think also with, working through it, there's also a pause that needs to be taken because you don't want to keep rushing it and like, oh, I need to do this. What about this? I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it shouldn't be a rushed process, even though like things in the industry are like, oh, you have to be this, like pilot here, and you know. So I feel like taking a pause, being like, hey, okay, what can we do over this pause to make sure when we get into filming, it's going to be good.
Hmm.
So I think that's something that, will help if something's going wrong in a production.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree, especially with high school filmmaking. Getting
Yeah.
people together is arguably the hardest thing about filming.
Yeah.
Because not only do you have to get people together, you have to get equipment together, and
Yeah.
if the studio can't provide that for you, or if your school can't provide that for you, or if your cinematographer can't provide that for you, that's a really big deal, because you need the camera to obviously film.
Yeah.
And you need the actors to film, you need the crew to film, and
Yeah.
so having people, me and Destiny in our last episode, we talked about how having people that are just as committed as you are is very
Ooh.
important.
Yes.
Um, Once you find those types of people that are willing to do this and they're willing to do that and they're willing to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and drive halfway across the town to film,
Film. Yeah.
that's gonna be very important. In high school, it's all about knowing people, having connections, and knowing
Connections.
when to ask for things and for help, right? Because
Mhm.
whenever our film fest comes around at the end of the year, we have tons and tons of students that we need to provide camera equipment for, and we only have two boom poles. We only have two boom mics. We only have X amount of lavalier mics. We only have one dolly. We
Mhm.
only have one shoulder rig. We only have one gimbal, and this has to be divided up against tons of students. And so, knowing that teacher, in this case, it would be Christine. She's our teacher. Knowing her and being friends with her, or being friends with maybe your studio director or somebody like that, they'll make
Mhm.
sure that you get the equipment first because you are
Yeah.
committed, right?
Yeah.
So people like Bailee, people like me, people like Destiny, we're committed and we know the teacher on a more personal level than some of the students in class. She's going to make sure we get the best equipment above these other students because she knows that we're going to be more committed to our film than these other students. Not saying that she's using necessarily favoritism, but she's using
Yeah.
commitment and preparation to provide the students who are actually interested and not just taking this course as a credit to have what they need to make their films. So
Yeah.
definitely getting people together, getting equipment, getting cast, getting crew, scheduling is all very, very hard. And like Bailee said, taking a break every now and then to just kind of relax and come back
Yeah.
to reality is very important.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our fifth and final question for Bailee. What advice would you give to a young filmmaker who has big ideas but doesn't have a huge budget or a large crew yet?
So, as I've previously stated, I'm kind of new to this as well. Like, I'm figuring things out. So, I would just say, I get you. Like, I don't want to say, oh, well, you need to do this and this and this, because I'm figuring it out with you at the same token. Like, with my A Creator's Way, my new series, it's like, I'm going to take you along with this journey because there's a lot of people in the same position as I am. And I think I know it might be cliche, but you don't need a big budget or you don't need, 50 people on your crew because
Mm-hmm.
at high school, like at a high school level, you won't get all that most
For sure.
likely. So it's really just taking what you have and using it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't say like dial down your big idea or something that you have, but make it work for your situation. And I
For
think
sure.
if you want to create and if you want to do this, then just do it instead of like, oh, well, if I want to do this, then I need this money, but figure out, okay, well, I only have this much. I only have $100. What can I
Mm-hmm.
do with my idea to create it like that? But
Of
yeah, I would
course.
just say like follow people like Brady said, have those connections and because it can take you a long way. Like I didn't know Brady 2 years before this, and now we're like having an interview. We're on this
Yeah.
podcast, so it's just taking who you know and just expanding that.
Yeah.
Really,
For sure. Um, I definitely agree with that. Right, taking what you have, especially at a high school level, it's not going to be much. You're not going
yeah.
to have professional studio equipment, even if you have professional experience. You're not going to have professional studio equipment in high
Hmm.
school. No studio is going to give you $500,000 worth of equipment. You're not going to get like a Sony FX6 to film
Yeah.
your video. All of our films, they're filmed on Canon, and they
Hmm.
don't look like they're filmed on Canon because we know how to use what we have. With a
Yes.
Canon camera, especially the T6 to the T8, they're not great cameras. They're not mirrorless. They are digital, but they still use the weird physical shutter thing. You know what I'm talking about?
I think so, yeah.
And we don't have tons of lenses, right? We don't have huge macro lenses, and we don't have super small lenses.
Yeah.
We've just got like basic, 18 to 250, like nothing crazy. And we
Mm-hmm.
have to learn how to use that. So with skills like cinematography, you can learn all of this by paying attention in class, right?
Yep.
And going out and experimenting and do what you can with what you have. If you
Yeah.
don't take a camera and record something, you're never gonna get good at it,
You're not gonna do
right?
it. Yeah.
You're gonna suck the first time you go out there with a camera. You're gonna be
Mm-hmm.
Googling, what does this button do, ChatGPT? Like, you're gonna try to figure out all of this stuff, but it's not gonna come to you the first time. You have to be not. I don't want to say consistent, but you have to keep doing it, right? Don't go out
Yeah.
every single weekend and be like, I need to film people. That's creepy.
Yeah,
Um,
don't do that.
but getting out there and giving yourself experience that others are not going to give you is very
Hmm.
important, right? Being the person who reaches out to people, for instance, like if I reach out to Bailee and ask her, hey, I need help, more than likely she's going to be like, okay, awesome. And let me text you all the stuff that I know about this topic so that we can figure this out
Yeah.
together, right? Or if I were to text like Destiny, she'd be like, okay, here's all the information that I know. Let's figure this out together. Once you meet people and you start adding people to your crew and to your connections list, you're going to start getting more experience not only from texting these people, but from getting their personalities, right? Bailee, she's got a great personality, right? So that's stuff that you have to
Oh,
think
thanks.
about, right? Like she could be, not could be, she is great at acting, right? And this reflects in her theater performances and in her movies, right? How she directs and how she writes. And like you said, working realistically, not necessarily
Hmm.
changing your idea, but
Yeah.
making it to where you can actually film it, right? Like me and Destiny talked about this in the last video as well. Not writing a car explodes in the middle of the Las Vegas Strip. Like that is really
Exactly.
freaking hard to do. Um, I mean, sure you can use CGI, but also a lot of places now require permits. Like you can't go film on the Las Vegas Strip. It's a
Exactly. It's
thousand
a
dollars
whole thing.
to
Yeah.
get the permit, and they need $1 million compensation, right? And I don't know about you, but I don't have a million
I don't have
dollars, gang.
that.
I'm not giving the city of Las Vegas $1 million so that I can go film on the Las Vegas Strip, right? So writing, I think all of this starts in the writing phase. Writing
Hmm.
realistically and creating what you can create with what you have at your disposal is going to
Yeah.
take you so much further than you think it is. And using things like post production, my film Forgotten won Best Post Production last year at the Film Fest. Thank you.
Yes.
Um, because when we filmed it, it sucked. It was really, really bad. But I sat down and I was like, okay, you filmed this, right? You went out there, you put in the effort, you filmed this, you have to
Hmm.
edit this. You can't just say, okay, the footage sucks in the rough cut, right? Like
Hmm.
you can't say that. You have to edit it. And I'll put a picture up on the screen, but the timeline for this video is like 13 layers, and like each layer has about 1 million different edits in it. It's insane. And we used green tape to key out a rock to put digital effects on it. So that's the kind of stuff that
Nice.
you can learn, right?
Yeah.
Just going out there and experimenting. I had no idea if this tape thing was gonna work, right? I thought I was just gonna put like an image on it, but it didn't. It didn't do that in post production, and so we had to go back out there and we had to put tape all over this rock, and we had to put tape on our actor's hand and on his face to key out that color, and create those digital effects. So like she said, working realistically, writing realistically, and getting out there and working and filming is going to give you the experience that you need.
Yeah, and I don't like not only that, but sometimes you don't have to write realistically. Like if you have this huge idea, just write it. I mean,
Hmm.
you're not going to maybe not be picked up by, a company,
Yeah.
but like that's what I've done with like this one script. I'm super passionate about it, and will it be done this year, next year, 5 years? I don't know. Probably not, but I'm still
Hmm.
going to write it cuz I'm passionate about it, and it has like all these big ideas that I can't realistically do right now,
Hmm.
but like it's kind of seeing more creatively, like Brady said, just do it instead of
Hmm.
with script writing. You can just do it, you can just write it down.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be put on camera and make into this beautiful film. But it's like at the same token, if you want something to be filmed and if you want to write for it and you want it to do it right now, then kind of curate it around that.
Yeah. Of course. And I think my best example for that would be my feature films.
Hmm.
I've written 2 feature films. They're not done, obviously, but
Yeah.
one of them is about 150 pages. That's a 2-hour movie,
Yeah.
and I can't film that. It's based in New York, right, which is
Hmm.
expensive as heck. There's shots that
Yeah.
happen at a police station. There's shots that happen at 2 different apartments. There's we walk around Central Park and stuff like that. Is really expensive.
Yeah.
And then I have my other feature film. It takes place in a smaller town. It's the first feature film that I ever wrote, and both of these are homosexual. um, but like I can't go out and film that. I can't do that right now.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have the ability. I don't have the money. Um, both of these films are going to cost, they're not going to be millions of dollars, right? But they're going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars to make because
Yeah.
of the equipment, because of the location, because of the actors, because of the crew. Like, I can't make these movies off of a 50-person crew. I need probably 250 people to make this movie.
At
And I don't
least.
know
Yeah.
250 people that I can use to make this movie, right? I probably know,
Yeah.
um, well, let's list them off. We got Destiny, we got Bailee, we got Kaylin. Like, I've got just a handful of people that are actually good and that I would actually trust with these films, and that's not enough to make this stuff. But being
Hmm.
able to write this, to you can write anything. You can write a movie in the Andromeda Galaxy if you wanted to. It will exist on paper, but it is a
Yeah.
whole different thing to
Yes.
make that movie. That's why we divide it up into 3 stages: pre-production, production, and post-production.
Post-production.
Each I like
Hmm.
to think of as a different galaxy. In pre-production, we can write it, we can create the characters, we can plan all this stuff, but we gotta take a spaceship to get to production, and then from production, we gotta take another spaceship to get to
Yeah.
post-production. It's so much stuff that goes into it, but you can
Yeah.
always work on pre-production no matter what.
Exactly. Yep.
The only thing that you'd have to spend, you don't even have to do it, but the only thing that you'd need to spend on writing a script is to get it registered through WGA and USCO, the U.S. Copyright
Hmm.
Office and the Writers Guild of America, right? Those are the only things
Oh.
that you would really be paying for, but you don't have to do
Hmm.
that, right? So all of this stuff goes into filmmaking, guys. Just, get out there and do it.
Do
Like
it.
Nike
Yes.
says it best, just do it. You just have to get out there and do it. You just have to get out there and film it. You just have to get out there and write it. So, yeah. All right, guys. So Bailee actually has one question for me before we end the show. So Bailee, take it away.
Okay, so my question is, how do you handle being a signed actor and model, but also going to high school and doing a lots of work and theater and tech and everything like that?
Okay. Well, first off, thank you for asking me the question. You're the first person that we've interviewed that's actually asked me a question.
Really
Um,
good.
so with that question, I feel like I should give a little bit of backstory.
Okay.
I mentioned previously in the video how I kind of came to fruition as being an actor and being a model. And by no means am I a big actor or model, right? I'm not
Mm-hmm.
in movies every other day. I'm not in modeling gigs every other day, or I'm not signing paperwork every other week. Like, it's not a huge deal, right? But it
Yeah.
is a life accomplishment, right? With it didn't just come from me like, oh, I want to be an actor. I had to take 4 years of acting academy to get to the
Mm-hmm.
point to where I could actually have the opportunity to be signed. I'll leave some information in the description about it, but the Diane Christensen Acting Academy is where I came from in California. It's an award-winning acting academy. It's fantastic. They do what's called Screen Teens Live, and I did that for a while. I did in person for about 2 years, and I did Screen Teens Live for about a year. And I did a showcase with them in front of tons and tons of A-list agencies for actors and models and management and whatnot. And after I did that showcase, I got a call from Avalon, and they said, "Hey, we want you. We're gonna do an interview with you here this next week." And I was like, "Okay, awesome." So I need to lock in my interview skills. And
Yeah.
then we did the interview, and they were like, "Okay, we want you. We're gonna sign you." And then I signed. I think it was a 4-year contract with them, and I'm on year 2.
Oh,
And then
okay.
after we did that, ESI called me. They're like, "Hey, we want to be your management. We want to work with you." And I was like, "Okay, awesome." And so they decided to not do a Zoom meeting, and they said, "We want to call you into our California office and do an in-person interview." And I was like, "Oh my god!" And so
Wow.
drove to California, went up to this like they're like in a skyscraper. It's so cool. Um, so like took the elevator to the top floor or whatever. Did this interview, shook his hand, and we left. They called us the next day like we want to sign you, and I signed a 4-year contract with them. I'm on year 2. And so what how the industry works right now is it revolves around self tapes
Yes.
from just in your home. I have a I think it's like a $300 backdrop off Amazon that you like pull up out of the ground. It's like really freaking
Yeah.
cool. And then I have 2 just studio lights, and I set that up. I put my phone on, and I record myself doing these auditions. And I've done hundreds of auditions for movies and stuff. And that just goes to show you don't get everything you audition for.
Yeah.
I've done
100%.
hundreds of auditions, and I've only ever gotten 2, right?
Yeah.
I did one where I had to fly out to Vegas to do one, and then I got one that was actually a photo commercial for AT&T, and I have it in my closet. I stole one from one of the AT&T stores, and it was a picture of me. It was a Christmas campaign, and I was in every AT&T
Oh,
store in America for this campaign, and that was really freaking cool for a 13-year-old.
yeah.
Um, and so going to high school and managing all this stuff at one time, it's a lot, right? An advanced theater technician. I'm doing advanced theater technician studies. I'm in
Mhm.
video production. I'm in advanced video production. I'm doing all this stuff outside of school. I'm running sound for our assemblies. I'm running cross country. I've got so much that I have to worry about, so much that I have to
Yeah.
deal with and handle. And it all comes down to time management, allocating your
Yes.
time properly. And I think your main enemy with that is going to be social media. The
Mm.
temptation to just pick up your phone and start scrolling. That just wastes
Yeah.
so much time. You can get on your phone, sit down, 4 hours go by, like, oh shit, I have not eaten dinner yet. Like that's the type of stuff that that will just eat your time. So
Yeah.
learning time management and being able to allocate time properly to acting, to advanced studies in video production and theater,
Yeah.
to teching for shows, to scheduling when you can show up, and being the person that people want to call to these events, to run these shows, to do these things,
Yeah.
is also very hard with time management. So, just I would say my answer to your question in summary is purely time management. Thank you, Bailee Parker, for taking the time to sit down with us and share your experiences and your advice. This has been The Art of Filmmaking. And remember, guys, every great film starts with an idea, but it's what you do with that idea that brings it to life. Any final comments, Bailee, before we end the show?
No, I love you guys. Keep creating.
Thanks so much, guys.